Something absolutely incredible has happened in Indian cinema over the last 25 years. I mean, it's been completely rewritten. The stars, the stories, even the languages that dominate the box office, everything has changed. So today, using some really cool exclusive data from IMDb, we're going to dive in and unpack exactly how this massive transformation happened.
Just think back for a second to the early 2000s. Indian cinema, for the most part, meant Hindi films, right? Often those slick, urban romances. Now, look at what's topping the charts today. They're these huge, mythic epics, and they're coming from all over the country. This isn't just a new type of movie, it's like a whole new cinematic language has emerged. So the big question is, how on earth did this happen? How did the entire map of Indian entertainment get so spectacularly redrawn? Well, let's find out. Okay, so the biggest single driver of this change was a creative tidal wave that came surging up from the south. The Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam film industries. They didn't just find their voice on a national stage, they started setting the tone for the entire country. And you don't have to take my word for it. The numbers are just staggering. Check this out. Between 2005 and 2014, only 5 Southern films managed to break into IMDb's top 5 for the year. 5. But in the very next decade, that number just explodes to 19. You guys, this isn't a trend, it's a complete revolution. Now, if you had to pinpoint one single moment, one film that changed everything, it has to be Baahubali. Back in 2015, this thing didn't just shatter box office records, it proved once and for all that a truly massive, ambitious story could capture the imagination of the entire country, no matter what language it was in. So why did this happen? Well, as Hindi cinema started focusing more on, urban stories for a more niche audience, it kind of left this huge gap for movies that could appeal to everyone. And Southern cinema, with its incredible knack for telling these grand, universally relatable stories, was perfectly positioned to step right in. This Southern wave didn't just bring new stories to the table, it brought a whole new philosophy of filmmaking. That old model of separate, walled-off regional industries was starting to crumble. The new secret to making a blockbuster? It's all about collaboration. The old playbook was pretty simple, right? You'd take a massive hit from the South, and you'd remake it in Hindi. Think Hera Peri or Drishyam. But now, in the age of streaming, where everyone can watch everything, that model is basically obsolete. Today, it's all about creative teams from different industries joining forces to make something brand new, just like we saw with blockbusters like Jawan and RRR. And in this new era, the power has shifted. It's not just about the big-name star anymore. The real power players now are the directors. They're the visionaries, the architects, who can pull together talent from all over the country and build something truly epic. And these guys, these are the new masters of the universe. You've got S.S. Rajamouli, the master of spectacle. Prashant Neel, who created the dark, gritty worlds of KGF and Salar. Atlee, who brought that distinct southern flair to the biggest star in Bollywood. And of course, Lokesh Gambaraj, who's literally building an entire cinematic universe, one knockout film at a time. All of this has created a fascinating new reality. As one report put it so perfectly, language is no longer a barrier, it's a genre. Think about that. Today, audiences actually associate different languages with different kinds of films. You hear Telugu or Kannada, and you might think of a larger-than-life spectacle. You hear Malayalam, and you might expect a more grounded, realistic story. It's pretty cool. So, with a creative shakeup this big, it's no surprise that the whole idea of what it means to be a superstar has been turned on its head. The age of one single dominant star is, well, it's fading. I mean, just go back to the turn of the century. One star pretty much ruled the box office. From 2000 all the way to 2004, Shah Rukh Khan had the #1 film on IMDb's list every single year. It was an era of absolute dominance, and the whole industry was built around stars just like him. Okay. Now let's fast forward to today. The picture could not be more different. The top 25 films of just the last 5 years feature this incredible, dazzling mix of stars from every corner of India. The era of the one king is over. Now it's more like a star-studded ensemble cast. Let's put a hard number on that because it's pretty striking. In the last 5 years, the top films feature 23 different male leads. Compare that to just 13 back in the early 2000s. The very definition of stardom has gotten so much more diverse and honestly, a lot more interesting.
So, with all this change, it only makes sense that the very definition of a hit film is evolving too. Success is no longer just a simple calculation of the opening weekend box office numbers.
The new gold standard, the new measure of success, is something called sustained relevance. It's all about a film's ability to last, to find new audiences, and to stay part of the cultural conversation long, long after it's left theaters. And when you actually look at the data on this, it's pretty surprising. The film at the very top of the list isn't some massive front-loaded blockbuster. It's a cult classic, Gangs of Wasseypur. It's the perfect example of how a film's real legacy can be built over years, not just in its opening days.
And you see this with other films too. Movies like The Lunchbox or 12th Fail prove that a really powerful story can have a long and incredibly successful life, even without a giant opening weekend. These are the films that audiences discover and just fall in love with, completely on their own terms. So what does all this mean for the future of Indian cinema? Where is this all heading? Well, one report had a metaphor that I think is just perfect: a thali. And it makes so much sense, doesn't it? A thali isn't just one single dish. It's this vibrant, amazing platter of all these different flavors and textures and tastes. That is Indian cinema today. It's not about forcing one single pan-Indian identity. It's a celebration of diversity, offering a dazzling array of choices for audiences everywhere. So as all these different cinematic flavors continue to blend and collaborate and evolve, you just have to wonder, right? What incredible new dishes are going to be served up next? The future of Indian cinema is a feast, and we're all invited.